Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Hope you're doing well today. I'm going to try to move fast on this one. We're going to start out with the Great Plains Laboratory, LLC. It's a great laboratory for getting all kinds of things tested for pesticides and latent chemicals, all kinds of stuff like that, so check it out online. They got a nice little dealie here. The correlation between glyphosate and autism on the TV, you hear this conflation quite often. It's vaccines, it's environmental pollution. Nobody knows really what the cause is for the spike in autism, and one of the greatest correlations, I think, is the glyphosate exposure in the children's foods. We're moving along today. We're in the BMC Medical Journal. Let's see, published in 2018, the Journal of Environmental Health. The title of this one, Glyphosate Exposure in Pregnancy and Shortened Gestational Length, a Prospective Study in Indiana. They found that a lot of premature children were being born after the mother was exposed to glyphosate and then exposed the child in utero. We're at rooters, heavily used herbicide tied to shorter pregnancies along the same lines. 90% of pregnant women had glyphosate in their urine, talking about the same study in Indiana. Okay, we're moving along. Glyphosate exposure during pregnancy and preterm birth. Another study here. The Environmental Health Journal. Check out the articles. Okay. Let's see, GM Watch. Argentine study links glyphosate herbicide to miscarriage and birth defects. It's an interesting, controversial article here. I pulled up the scientific paper that the article was referencing. We're at Scientific Research, an academic publisher. Today we're in the Journal of Environmental Protection. The title of this one, Environmental Exposure to Glyphosate and Reproductive Health Impacts in Agricultural Population in Argentina. Extremely detailed study, lots of good stuff in it. I highlighted a couple of key stuff here. 3.3 epidemiological analysis. They found that the spontaneous abortion in people who were exposed to glyphosate was 3 times the rate of spontaneous abortion in typical healthy young women. And it even went up to 10% in the reproductive age, depending on their exposure. So 1 out of 10 births were being aborted spontaneously due to the exposure. We're scrolling down here. Yeah, the rate of spontaneous abortion was 10% higher than what was reported in the national analysis. These are areas that have heavy agricultural pesticide use from big ag, big pharma. So let's see here. Yeah, the increased prevalence was consistent with the findings of Aisa. She did another really interesting study, and she found that in 166 households, the rate of spontaneous abortions was actually 19% in young women. The Ontario Farm Family Health Study also refers to 18.7% risk of spontaneous abortion in different parts of the world. So we're getting a lot of the similar results here. Okay, so we're at the Usgs now. I just threw this in here. It's a glyphosate map where people use RoundUp, usually in heavily agricultural areas. So you want to make sure you're getting your food not from these areas. It can be challenging, but if you put your mind to it, it becomes much easier. In this map provided to us by the USGS, we see exactly how serious this problem is, because it's all over the country, and it's all over in Mexico, Canada, South America, but not in Europe because they banned it. You see a lot of it in Africa as well, China probably. Okay, so we're just going to look at the case around glyphosate and RoundUp. So I typed in man wins case against RoundUp. Monsanto, man awarded $80 million for getting cancer. So I have another suit here. Alleges RoundUp causes bladder cancer and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I typed in 100% of California wine tested positive. So wine and beer coming from the United States test positive for glyphosate, so you don't want to be drinking that because it could give you cancer. And we're moving along here. 93% of people in the United States tested positive for RoundUp in their urine. So it's coursing through everybody's bodies, especially people who are drinking a lot of American beer and wine. The Great Plains Laboratory also does urine testing, I believe, so check that out, guys. RoundUp tested in grain products, so pretty much every single grain product that you can find at the grocery store is also testing positive for glyphosate, RoundUp, and as well as Atrazine and several other chemical pesticides that are what they call endocrine disruptors. And endocrine disruptors, there's many kinds. There's like plasticizers, different types of plastics. You hear a lot about BPA and stuff like that, and they basically interfere with our hormonal balance and our hormonal production, which can lead to depression, anxiety, Crohn's disease, all kinds of digestive issues. Depression, anxiety, I mean, the list is crazy. So let's see here. What do we need to do to avoid all this? You can go to the Great Plains Laboratory. They will test products for you that you use on a regular basis. And because there is glyphosate in 100% of American beer and wine, as well as grain products, you don't want to buy anything really from the grocery stores, places like Safeway, Costco, Whole Foods, Lucky, Buy Right. Most of those things are all going to be heavily contaminated, and that's why you're seeing this 100% of contamination in American urine. And so, to avoid exposure, you want to buy only from small farmers at the farmers market. You want to kind of grill them and make sure they don't use any pesticides. And then once you find someone who you're comfortable with, you can go ahead and send a sample to this Great Plains Laboratory. They're really cool, just to make sure that you're not getting exposed. So if you must consume beer and wine, you only want to get like grain products, you only want to get them from France and Italy, places like in Europe where they have banned glyphosate. You don't want to get anything from the Americas, South America, Mexico, or United States or Canada if you can help it. So just keep that in mind, guys. If you know anybody who really likes beer and wine, or like cookies from the grocery store or whatever, just make sure to let them know, because this has been tied to cancer, several different types of cancer and depression, anxiety, and stuff like that. So yeah, let everybody know. Thanks again, guys. Have a great one.